back on the cliff top where it all started a year ago today. This is the first anniversary edition of the old shop. Do you remember that at midwinter, or before midwinter, I brought you down here and I actually had photographed the owl flight candle, one of the pots, on this post here of this style. So this is the field where I see the barn owl sometimes, and I have done recently a few times actually when I've come here around sunset, but it's not sunset at the moment, it's afternoon, Lammastide, 1st of August. And I'm going to climb over the stile and just go down to the little stream because we haven't been down there together. I've only been down there a couple of times myself, but you can see what a wet field it is because what you can see in front of you there are all reeds, rushes, reeds, I guess. And the stile itself is completely overgrown here, so I don't think this is something other people do, although because it's a stile, and it doesn't say private, I can't see why we can't do it. So I should just climb over and make my way across to where those trees are lining the little stream, and then we'll see what's there. If I can get through it, if it's not too wet underfoot, we'll see. So I'm now on the other side of the stile, and actually there's quite a definite trail across to the stream. I don't know whether it's human made or animal trail. I'm guessing animal because the stile doesn't look as if it had been used recently at all. So there's no reason why animals wouldn't be making their way across here to the water. In fact, there's lots of flattened grass just here. It's beautiful. It's not really a stream as such, it's actually, I think, one of these drainage channels, which there are a lot of in our agricultural county, and they often feed into the streams. They look like streams, and you can see they're all trail under. Well, actually you can't really see, but I can see because I'm walking it. There's a sort of trail which doesn't look like a human trail, it looks like an animal trail because it's quite low and it's flattened here. Can you see? So we're just following this trail along the side of the stream, and it's full of reeds. So I think it's going to be a really nice place to photograph the new River Song candle as well, which is one of the reasons I wanted to come down here to see what it would be like as a location. If that doesn't sound too grand a term, but I think it'll be a really nice location. You can see how these are birch trees here, and lots of reeds, and I guess rushes and reeds. I don't really understand the distinction, but I probably should be finding that out because it's actually something which is relevant. And I'm making my way, it's a little bit slow because there are so many reeds, but all the way along the edges are birches. I don't think they will have been planted like this. I would be very surprised. I think they probably all seeded themselves. And I think that under this one. I just spent a little time down here by the edge of the water, and it is just beautiful with the sun shining. Just very, very peaceful. It's quite brown, the water, and that actually reminds me of the candle pot, so I'm really pleased about that surface. It's got that sort of iridescent, just a slight sheen on it, and it's brown and there are different colours in it. I just think it's very lovely, and the reeds and everything, and when the wind just rustles in them and they just move a little bit. It's gone a bit still now, of course, because I'm telling you this, but I'm sure the breeze will blow again in a minute, and then you might be able to hear it as well. And it's just it's as a place, it is just somewhere no one would really think of. I'm sure nobody else, no other human has been down here. It just doesn't look as if they have. It seems very, very still and wild, and I love it. This is as far as I'm going to go today. All you can see in front of me here is reeds. And I know people haven't been down here, which is really exciting, because I also know that animals have. As I said before, I can actually see where it's flattened down at a low level. So I'm going to go underneath the branches here and follow this low level another day. And I'm going to bring something to sit on as well, so that I can actually just sit quietly. And I know I can get to the corner, because I did before. There's like a corner where it turns round to the other side of the field, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to get back to the old shop. It's lovely just knowing that I can do this, and it's all here. It's just here, and it's only a short walk away as well, really short walk. So I feel very, very lucky, and I think it'll be really nice on a very windy day as well, when you can nearly hear the reeds swishing, and the leaves of the trees probably will swish a little bit as well, but the reeds more so. And I'll get back to the old shop, but I thought you might just like to see it and see where I've been exploring, and also we can come and explore here again as well another day. I've come out onto the heath from where I was down by the water and the reeds, and you can see it's very different up here. And the sun's come out this afternoon. It's been quite wet this morning, and there's been quite a lot of wet rain overnight as well. So it's really warm with the sun suddenly on the land and on the ground where the heather is here. And this is a good place to spot adders basking in the warmth, which I have never seen, I have to say, but I'm told they're here. So I thought, I'll just keep walking. I'm just walking back, in fact. It's just a nice circular walk back. No adders yet, but I thought I'll just pause at this heather, just because it's reminded me to say that this year I've really learned a lot more about heather, and how it's not just one thing called heather, but there are actually lots of different sorts. And I've shown you the sort with the larger pale pink flowers cluster, which I think is called the cross-leaved heather. I haven't checked that out yet, but I've looked at the leaves closely, and they seem to form little crosses down the stem, which I'll show you again in a moment if I find some. But also, what I was going to show you was, this is the normal purple, what I call normal purple heather, but this heather is just coming. And this is also another heather, I can see that, but you can see this is just in bud now. It must be a different kind, because there's patches of this all over the heath that are just coming into their own now, just at Lammastide. So as they come out, of course, we'll have a look at them. And when I come to another patch of the pale pink ones, which are really very different, we'll just pause and have a look at those as well. But I don't think I'm going to see any adders now, because I'm almost back to the beginning of the heath. And if they were going to be around, well, they would be. But one day, you never know, one day there will be one, and I least expect it probably. Well, here's some of the other heather, and as you can see, it's actually going over a bit before the other heather behind it here has actually started. So there's definitely a succession in heather, which obviously, I suppose, is very good for the bees to have a variety of nectar and pollen sources. And the other flower, which there's a lot of on the heath at the moment, is betony, which is this pale form, which I think is a heath variety, which is this one here. And that's everywhere as well. So that's the scene at the moment, really. Everywhere is pretty green, considering, apart from where the weed killing took place earlier, which I've told you about when I found this man with his Roundup spraying things. But I don't think it's done a huge amount of harm overall, really. It's just the areas that look a bit brown and dead where he sprayed to kill the gorse roots. But there's plenty of new gorse springing up, as you can see. So I think all is well, really. And these are ragwort stems, and I only know that because I came past when the ragwort was in flower, and just look what those cinnabar moth caterpillars have done. They've completely stripped all the stems. Isn't that wonderful? Look, there's just nothing left of them. So somewhere, I don't know quite where they do this, but they presumably have crawled off and become chrysalises, and will turn into cinnabar moths in due course. Well, here's the front garden, which the sun has gone off the front garden because it's afternoon now, but I thought we might have a little look anyway, because one or two different things. So just perhaps make this fairly quick because there's lots of other things to fit into this week's video, but I just thought you might like to see that the Japanese anemones are coming out now. That's a lovely double one. I think there's a few of those, not sure what they're called, but I think I did put them in as plants, because there are other kinds which just come up everywhere, or I think I suppose they do seed themselves and spread everywhere, and I think they're the basic ones, the kind of pink ones that you see all the time. But these I think I did put in specially, and they are rather lovely, getting quite tall as well. I did say that I wasn't going to tie up this cultivated burnet, but we've had so much rain that it's just been flopped over so much you can hardly really walk in across the garden. So I thought actually I put in some canes and some string this morning, in fact, just to tie it right up. And you can see on this side, you see it's quite upright now, and actually it was a really good idea to do that. I was just thinking let it do its own thing now, but actually I think it does look nicer, and it still looks wild. And you've got this Veronicastrum in front of it, which is all out now, which it's one of my favourites as well in this garden. Got really lovely spires, and it stays nice and upright and strong, unlike some of the others. So I like that. And the pond is, you really can hardly see the water now, but there is water down there. In fact, it's full. And the alpine strawberries, quite amazing. I've never seen anything like it. That I grew from seed, and you can see there is a little strawberry. It's laid itself on one of the stones, which I think is so pretty. And what else can we look at? Then we've got more of the anemones here, and loads of buds more, so that's going to be really pretty soon. And same with the Moorheim Beauty, the heleniums, in that they are very pretty, and there's lots and lots of them. They've done so well. They've probably done the best of any plant in this garden, I think. This is that echinacea we looked at last time, and it had petals that were just coming, just growing, but they've grown a lot longer now, and it is turning back on itself like this and looking really delicate and fairy-like, which is a shame there's only one, and there's one plant that survived, it seems, and one flower on the one plant, but it really is so lovely that hopefully, if it survives, hopefully it will spread for next year. And I might see if I can get some seeds perhaps, and see if I can grow some from seed, because I think you'll agree it's rather lovely. It really is. And we're almost round now really, but we'll just see what we can see around here, apart from the bird bath, which have filled up again today. It wasn't unfull, but it was still could do with a bit of freshening up. And when the blackbirds particularly have their baths, they do splash loads of the water out. I know that because you can see it here on the stone. And so yeah, I just topped that up. Then we've got one Michaelmas daisy. Again, I think I had 3 plants, and only one of them seems to have survived. And then there's only one stem of Michaelmas daisies. But the colour of that next to these heleniums, these bronze heleniums, I just think, oh wow, so nice. So hopefully, again, that will survive, and maybe even get bigger. And I can perhaps divide it up a bit or something like that. Perhaps it's a bit of a ambitious idea, but you never know. And there's more heleniums. I did say they'd done really, really well, and they have. And that's, I think we'll just have a quick kind of scan around from the gate. And there we have the Lammas front garden. Just had my drink, and I'm going to go and have a little walk along the edge of the cliff now, so we'll go together. But I just wanted to show you that I brought with me my crochet, and this crochet I had not started last year. I hadn't even learnt to crochet. In fact, I taught myself last November, and it took me ages to actually get the hang of it. I think I started six little squares, same square 6 times before I actually was able to keep the final attempt and continue with it. But I thought I'd show you because I have never brought it back to the cliff top yet. But it's actually based on the colours of the cliff top here, the cliff top and the sea that you can see in front of you, and the sky as well. So it's all shades of blue, bluey greens, grey colours, like very pale colour. The one I'm using at the moment, this colour here, is like a very pale colour of the surf. And the darker colours are like the actual brown seed heads and the plantain heads here on the cliff top. So as I say, I've not brought it back until today, but I think it's I don't know, I'm really happy with it. And it'll be a lovely shawl to put on sitting on the cliff top in the cooler months. It's not finished yet. I've got this wool, I've got 2 balls of that, and I've got a few other odds and ends of the other wools to use up. I think perhaps I've got some just dark colour, perhaps to put on the edge. I don't want too much dark brown in it. It's just a touch of the brown, just to show the kind of darker grasses and seed heads. It's been a really beautiful day. I've been quite busy at home, so this is the first opportunity I've really felt to come out, and actually it's just the temperature's dropping now. I don't know what time it is, it's probably heading up for 7 p.m. But it has been really warm, and it's quite refreshing. It's not cold, but there's a breeze on the cliff top here. So what we'll do is to walk along what is now the cliff path, which the one we used last year is now in the sea, because there was a big cliff fall earlier on. Well, actually it was last autumn. In fact, I think it was on my birthday, or very, very close to it, at the end of September. And lots of the cliff went down, and bits have come down since then. This is a really, really vulnerable edge of the coast. And so we'll walk along what is now the path, which is a little bit in from where we were last year, but it'll still be the closest path to the sea, and just to see how it feels a year on from the very first video at the old shop. I think I've learned quite a few things, not a huge amount, because I don't do the videos in a particularly technical way. But I've learned little bits and pieces, most certainly, about how to edit the videos more to the point. So I'm pleased about that. I don't necessarily feel I need to do a huge amount more learning to make what I want to make, but I'm sure there'll be little bits and pieces that get added in over time, as long as I still keep making the videos and you still want to watch them. And then there's lots more to show at home and in the garden, but I'd like to get out and about as well to see the countryside around where the old shop is, between the heath and the sea. And we've got the rivers and broads and the canal as well, which I'm really focusing on at the moment because of making my candles, which are to do with the inland waters. So lots and lots to look forward to, hopefully for the next year as well. If you've been watching from the start, thank you very much, and if you haven't been watching from the start, thank you very much for following this channel. And I really do enjoy doing it, so I really do enjoy doing it, but at the same time I also really appreciate that you take the time to look at the videos as well. So thank you. This is where we walked last year, and I just wanted to come back this way just to show you how things have changed. Just where we used to go round the very edge of the cliff, well, you can't do that anymore. The little trees here on the edge have basically, I think they've all succumbed this year. They're little, although they might just about be alive, they're little sycamore trees, but they are not really exactly very lively now. There's a rabbit going across the path. And you can see the sea, of course, and we'll look back at the beach in a moment. It is lovely. It's my favourite, one of my very favourite places. And although the beach is quite popular, it's not busy in beach terms really, and also not that many people come along on the cliff here. Mostly they go down the lane and the car park and things. So there's the beach. Last year, this was the path. We're right on the edge. I'm not going to follow that path, so I want to come in from the path a little bit, because where we went over, they've got rather an inadequate little bit of wood across that little hump, as if to say don't go over there, but no one actually no sign saying danger, and on the other side of that is a sheer drop. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take the diversion. Lots of ragwort. There have been lots of cinnabar moth caterpillars, you know, the orange and black stripy ones, but I think I can't see any today. Well, I'm not sort of looking that closely, but I haven't noticed any. Right, let's climb over this hump. So yeah, didn't have to do this last year. And what we're really near the edge even here. So that, where it's sticking out there, is where the path was. And I wouldn't like to come along here in the dark and not realise. The sun's just getting quite low now, but I won't be here till sunset. Sunset's still fairly late, but it's definitely, the light's definitely mellowing now. So the ragwort is looking quite golden. And the sea is looking quite blue because it's been a nice day. It's reflecting in the sky. And really, on an evening like this, and it's so mellow and fresh at the same time, there's nowhere really much else that I would rather be. This crocosmia is the remnants of somebody's caravan garden, so it's very evocative when you come across tiny pockets of cultivated plant like this on the cliff top, and you know that somebody's favourite place to come for their holidays or weekends was once here. The site has really been claimed by the sea. It became unsafe and the caravans near the edge, I don't know if they actually went over the edge, or certainly they were in danger of going over the edge, so they had to be moved, and in the end the caravans that were left here were wrecked and burnt, and very sorry sights. There's just not much left there now, but these plants they just keep reminding us of what was once upon a time. This is one of the few bits of the garden at the back which has obviously got a bit of structure already, so I can work inside that structure. And there used to be a water tank here against where it's now sort of silvery tin, but it was the old tin before, and then there were benches which were falling to pieces around the edges, and they were full of flower pots, but they were all ripped out, and there's old flints here, which probably will have to stay there, that pile of flints, because they could be useful for something and they've got to live somewhere. But everything else I'm going to take out and make a little kind of nook area to sit in, and it gets beautiful sunshine, and to perhaps have a little sacred space in here as well. And I put one of the tin baths in here as well, I think, just to have an area with some plants in. So what I've got to move is, just to show you what the work is, it's not, as I say, it's not as bad as it looks really, it's just me not getting it done. So what I've got here is I've got a pot with some willow cuttings in, so I should get them out and put them in the ground somewhere. I'll dig out or pull out the nettles and other things that shouldn't be there as well. And as well as that, there is a ladder up here which I've got to get down and move around the side somewhere, because that doesn't feel quite what I want it to feel like. And then there's some canes on the ground there, and loads of old flower pots all in there, so I'll get them out, pile them up, probably put them in the shed somewhere, and then clear that area. Beautiful foxglove up here, look at this, right against the wall. It goes up into the sky, but I think it can come out now probably. There are loads of foxgloves everywhere, so I think we might have to sacrifice that one, and then we'll see what it looks like when it's completely clear. And I think it'll look bigger than, I think it'll look a reasonable size actually. And as I say, it does get really good sunshine, so it's a bit of a waste how it is at the moment. And that will be this year's Lammas project.